Greetings and welcome to our daily Devo for Wednesday, the 22nd of November. Today, uh, we will be having a Thanksgiving Eve service at our church tonight, just praising the Lord and thanking Him for His abundant, overflowing goodness to us. Our Devo for today is entitled The Jerusalem Imperative. Sounds like a good title for a movie. The Jerusalem Imperative. The passage is Luke 13:31 to 35, so just a few verses. Verse 33 is written here, typed out for us here, and this is Jesus. In any case, I must press on today and tomorrow and the next day, for surely no prophet can die outside Jerusalem. There were places Jesus chose to go in order to teach a lesson. And there were places Jesus had to go to complete his mission. Jerusalem was a place he had to go. These verses speak about the Jerusalem imperative. This portion of Luke begins with something that did not motivate Jesus' final trip to Jerusalem. He was not yielding to the pressure of the Pharisees. These religious leaders dogged Jesus throughout Galilee, challenging his authority and teaching wherever he went. The harassing voices continued as Jesus entered Perea. Leave this place and go somewhere else. Like Galilee, Perea was ruled by Herod Antipas. The Pharisees played up the risk by suggesting that Jesus would face the same fate as John the Baptist, whom Herod executed. But Jesus' travel plans would not be influenced by this ruler. The Pharisees suggested that Herod was like one of the predators that threatened ancient travelers, the lion, the bear, the wolf. Jesus countered by saying Herod was more like a fox, more of a nuisance than threat. Jesus would continue his trip to Jerusalem, but at the pace he intended, without fear of Herod's shadow. So what motivated his trip? Jesus was compelled by love. Using an illustration from the natural world, Jesus likens his feelings for the people of Jerusalem to the maternal instincts of a hen who places herself between the chicks in danger. Jesus knew the risk that sin imposed on the people of Jerusalem. He would go to Jerusalem to protect them from themselves. And ironically, it would be the people of Jerusalem who would bring about his death. Jesus observed that Jerusalem had a history of threatening God's messengers with death, whether that was Zechariah, Uriah, Jeremiah. Now the hostility of Jerusalem would turn against God's own son. The Jerusalem imperative was set. In any case, Jesus explained, I must press on today and tomorrow and the next day, for surely no prophet can die outside of Jerusalem. The story to come had to be a Jerusalem story. Jesus actually refers to Jerusalem one time as the city that kills the prophets. And he told a parable about a landowner who sent his messengers one at a time to collect the taxes from those who were renting the property and using it as a farm. They beat them up, ran them out of town. They weren't going to give the rent money back to the owner. Finally, the landowner decides, I'll send my son. They'll respect him. They'll listen to him. Well, he gets there, but instead they don't listen to him. Instead, they think, oh, if we get rid of him, the property will be ours. He's the heir. we can own all this, call our own shots. And so they killed the son. The Pharisees who heard the story right away knew who Jesus was talking about and who the bad guys were in the story. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, who kills the prophets. That was their reputation as far as Jesus was concerned. And yet he wept over them. He wept over Jerusalem. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often I would have gathered you together like a mother hen her chicks to gather you under my wings. The worst line, one of the worst lines you read in Scripture after he says that he says, but you would not. Such a sad set of words put to a people who claim to be descendants, and were descendants of Abraham, but they claimed their religion, but not really a love for God. And still not unusual today. One of the prophets actually on this subject says that he set his face like flint to go to Jerusalem. Jesus knew he had to do it. This was the plan. This is why he is here at this time, to go to Jerusalem, to die on that cross, to pay for the sins of the world. What a disaster, what a lamentable thing that most of the religious leaders, not all, but most, were a part of that crucifixion. They lied, they bribed, they manipulated in order to get Jesus crucified because they thought that would be best for them. They'd be able to keep their positions of power under the Roman government. There are things we're called to do, things that are imperatives. We need to do them. Whatever they might be, we need to listen to that still small voice and allow the Lord to direct us where he wants us to go, so that in the end, his will is done and his name is glorified. Blessings to you today.